What's going on, guys? Today we are doing our Australian Shepherd's good fitness dog. So my girlfriend and I have Maui. He is a toy Australian Shepherd. I've had him for 2 years now, and we try to be as active as we can with him. So today we're gonna go on a 3-mile jog with Maui, and we've been conditioning him a little bit, so we do longer walks throughout the week. And I've been running with him since I've been home for like the last week and a half. We've been doing like a mile and a half, and now 2 miles. Now we're gonna do 3 miles and see how he does. But yeah, let's get to the running. So one thing that's actually really funny about Maui is whenever you run with him, he'll go behind and he'll make his way back up to the front because he herds you. So to answer the question of the title of this video, are Australian Shepherds good fitness dogs? Absolutely. He has an ungodly amount of energy, and he just will go. Sprints, long distance runs. It's pretty much good for all of it. What I will say is with long distance runs, and a lot of dog owners know this, is like dogs, like humans, need to be trained. So with Maui, we acclimate him into runs and so forth. Like, we don't bring him on 5+ mile runs and so forth, but with all the hiking we do and like the shorter mile runs, he's good for 2 or 3 without being that much like fatigued or tired by the end of it. So that is one note I will say, is that if you're thinking about getting an Aussie and you stumbled upon this video, they're fantastic for fitness needs. I'm running now, so I'm a little out of breath. Whew. We are at about like 1.75 miles. Still trucking along. All right, just hit over 2 miles. Gonna take a little break here before we jog the last bit back. But I just want to talk more on Australian Shepherds and so forth. And this is the part of the video where I will say, like, if you're an avid dog owner, like, you're gonna know about a lot of stuff I say, so please don't think I'm trying to change the game or give some revolutionary tips. This is for anybody who might be considering getting a pup. And these are just good things to keep in mind, especially if you are somebody like myself who is very into an active lifestyle and you want a dog that can kind of hang with you when it comes to that lifestyle. So 3 things that I think you should keep in mind with if you get an Australian Shepherd or an active dog. Number 1, when you are doing dedicated fitness activities like running, hiking, whatever it might be, remember that dogs need to acclimate to and get used to the amount of volume and the intensity, for that matter, that you're wishing to do. Like, would I take Maui on a very fast pace 2 or 3 mile run? Probably not. But on slower jogs like this, I know he can keep up because we've done miles, 2 miles here and there, where we're doing it regularly enough to where we know he can keep up fine and not be totally winded. Like, we just did 2. And he's fairly good. He doesn't look like he's dying right now. Second tip I will say is consider the temperature outside and the surface you're running on. If it's very hot, try to avoid concrete and asphalt. We've had Maui's paw pads ripped before, not to our fault because we were not acknowledging the heat outside, but because like the accruement of going from grass to asphalt, like, it doesn't take much to cause a paw pad to rip. It's similar to like a callus on a hand. And when that happens, like, your pup's gonna be pretty much done. Like, they're not gonna wanna run anymore and be lifting up their paw and so forth. It's honestly really sad. And it makes me like very sad thinking about the time where we didn't realize that he had a ripped paw pad and he was trying to keep up. Third tip is always plan for water, right? So it's like we're doing like a 2.5, 3 mile run out and back, and he has water back at the car, but it's also only like 45 degrees today and it's not too hot. So I know he's gonna be good for it. But if it was like 80, 85, I would have brought a little water bowl and bottle with me, and then probably give him water every 3/4 to a mile. But I also would gauge on like how his body language is. Like, if he was slowing down, if he was overly like wheezing because he gets really dry in the mouth, then I would give him water a little bit more frequently based on what his body languaging is. But those are 3 things I would say keep in mind for anybody who's considering an Australian Shepherd or any other dog to match an active lifestyle. So a couple other things about an Aussie that we've learned over the last 2 years of owning one. Number one, they're called shadow dogs because literally they are like your shadow. If you are somebody who likes having their own space and who wants an independent dog, Aussie's probably not the best bet. This dude is like a magnet. Like, he doesn't leave our sides, and that's how we are able to off leash him, because he's literally so anxious when he's not with us. He's like, I need to be with mom and dad at all times. Second thing about Aussies is that they are like, when they get fixated on a toy or an object, like, it's game over. Like, he is, if you have a tennis ball, for example, he's nonstop. He will bring that to you until literally he keels over and passes out. And like, that's a good and bad thing. Good in the sense that if you want to play and you need like an active dog, great. But like, it can be a lot of times. So I will say, like, make sure, if you don't have the time for them, to have a plan to keep them busy, because they like need to be busy at all times. So Kongs with peanut butter treats, great bets. Also, any form of toy that is like a furry animal that is like very indestructible, so like those Kong furry animals, great, because he can just work on those for hours. Third thing I will say with Aussies is that they are generally very, very friendly dogs. So if you are worried about him getting or her getting along with other animals and people, generally they're good. Now obviously that's going to be a case by case basis, and realistically, like, I can't just say that as a blanket statement, but generally Aussies are very friendly pups. Also, quick note, because I get this question a lot, and this is especially for potential newbie dog owners. It is, hey, like, I work a 9 to 5. Could I get an Australian Shepherd? Is it the right fit for me? Because I know they need a lot of attention and so forth. Look, I am back and forth on this topic, but like, Nikki and I are both very busy. Like, we are pretty damn busy throughout our days, but that doesn't mean that you can't get a pup if you are busy. You just have to be a little bit more strategic with how you implement walks and playtime. So in the morning, we'll get up, walk them, give them like 10-ish minutes of play. Then we work until about noon. We'll take them for a little bit of a longer walk. So about a mile and a half-ish. So about like 20-30 minute walk. And then we'll walk them again in the evening and give them like 15 to 20 minutes of dedicated play. And now those are on days that we are very busy throughout the week. So like, that's usually like what a Monday through Thursday looks like. And then on the weekend, we'll take them on what we call DDAs, which are dog day adventures, where we take him and our little Shiba Inu on hikes and so forth to really expend a lot of energy. But what I will say is, like, at the end of the day, they're pups. And if you give them love and attention and do your best to fit them into your life, like, I don't think most people have the perfect amount of time for very active dogs, but I think if you could do your best and really make a dedicated plan to make sure they expend energy, they're living their best life, I never say don't consider a pup. Now, if you are traveling a lot, for example, though, and you are like so busy to where you can't even take them on that like longish walk throughout the day, then I would consider looking into older pups or not as active pups. But really, I mean, for most folks, I think as long as you give them the best life they can and you make a point to get them active throughout the week and so forth, never a bad idea getting a pupper. Another question that often follows is like, okay, I live in an apartment. Is that a good pick for me? This is where it gets a little dicey, because if you live in a very small apartment in a very urban area, I think it can be very tough to have larger active dogs, obviously. And I think that's kind of like a no-brainer. Now, Maui is a toy, so he's like 25-ish pounds. And we got him when we lived in Soho, and we had a smaller studio. And I will say it was definitely a bit more difficult to make sure he got enough activity and so forth. Like, luckily we lived next to a dog park, so we would take him there a lot, which helped a ton. But for anybody in urban areas, it is a little bit more of a struggle, I think, for yourselves to make sure that they're active enough, especially if you get like full-grown Aussies or any other form of like herding dog that are full-grown. It can be really tough, especially in smaller apartments. So I would say definitely factor that in. Doesn't mean it's a hard no, but you have to be a lot more diligent at making sure they get enough activity. Like, luckily we do have enough flexibility in our mornings and evenings to generally walk him a lot, especially when we were living in New York City. We're in Denver right now in a slightly bigger apartment. Plus he has Kona, our little Shiba Inu, which we did not have when we lived in Soho. So they like go ham all day, like just play. So that helps a ton, but it's definitely not a no for anybody who lives in an urban area, but you got to be a lot more strategic with how you're expending their energy and how you're going to keep them busy. And I would say lean towards smaller active dogs if you are in a tighter apartment. Those are my thoughts on Aussies being good fitness animals, fitness puppers. I think they're fantastic for anybody who wants a dog to match their active lifestyle. Hopefully you guys like this video. It's a little bit different, and I'm obviously out running in Missouri right now, so it's not like my normal setup, but I also just wanted to take a video and highlight Maui, but also tie it to fitness somehow so it relates to my channel. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. If you like this video, or if you are thinking about getting an Aussie, like I am not by any means a dog expert, but I have owned 2 Aussies and I also own a little Shiba Inu. So if you have any other questions about Aussies fitting into your lifestyle, drop them in the comments below. But again, like, I'm not a dog expert. I'm not trying to pretend to be like most fucking YouTubers who are automatically experts in all these topics. But if you do want to have like an actual human give you feedback on, hey, like I'm thinking about getting an Aussie, does this kind of fit my lifestyle and so forth, I can help you out there and give my thoughts. And then you can just weigh what you've learned with how I kind of have acclimated him to my lifestyle and so forth, and we can go back and forth and, you know, engage on if it's a good option for you. But overall, I never think pups are a bad option by any means. So see you guys, see you in the next one.